We've launched the topology view of SuperCloud Composer to show you how easy it is to navigate around the web UI. This topology view provides you an infrastructure management view of your entire environment. You see here an intersection of switches and systems and also devices that are connected together through a series of switches. Ethernet-based switches. On the view here, you can see here two systems that are reporting some problem, critical event. One is the 11.215 system, and the other one is the 11.118 system. So let's go ahead and take a look at more how we can find out what's happening with this system. Why is it reporting a critical event? By simply clicking on the event itself or the red icon to indicate the system has a problem, you're immediately launched into the side-carded information. You can see here that this is a blade that's reporting this kind of problem. It's powered up and it's reporting a critical health event. By clicking on the critical event itself, it'll allow and navigate you into the physical asset collateral within the blade. A little bit about the blade is showing a front and top view. All the physical asset information is available to you here. You can also see the lifecycle management buttons that you can basically perform. Because a system is reporting a health critical event, it cannot be deployed from a pool of a deployment of an operating system. So no operating systems can be sent or deployed to this blade because it's reporting a failure. So again, based on our compliance and governance, we put rules of engagement, checks and balances in there. Certainly you don't want to deploy an operating system to a blade that is certainly failing. So let's go ahead and take a look more at what is happening with this blade. With another click, we can simply directly get navigated into the monitoring detail. The monitoring detail provides us with a BMC event single pane. So all of this information is harvested through Redfish queries to the BMC. So our southbound agents collect this type of metadata and pass it up to the northbound composer that basically reports on it. So you can see here that this blade is indeed having lots of problems. It's reporting a CPU high temperature alert, which is non-recoverable. So again, certainly in this condition, you would not want to deploy an operating system when a CPU is reporting a critical event. So we're going to switch gears here and go over to the log portion or log module within SuperCloud Composer. You can see here under BMC events is a collection of BMC events from every particular server within our data center. So you can see here simply that just with a recent update to the log, we now see that we have some drive faults reported in a JBOF storage itself, and we saw some DIM problems associated with the 11.215 system. So by simply clicking here, you can directly go into the BMC and look at more detailed information about the server or the appliance itself. You can see here that 5.83 at one point in time did log a chassis intrusion alert, which was caught and reflected within our BMC log events themselves. So on the top here, you can search of any of these criterias that exist. You can go back in time, do historical trending, seeing what's happening with a system over a period of time. You can also filter on severities, okay, warning, critical, and info. So these logs will get very large in nature. You can see this log is pretty large. And so you want to be able to have a mechanism to be able to search that log to really hone in and really understand what's happening with the server itself. So on the activity log, again, it's a log a collection of what we call tasks and things that are happening with a specific device within SuperCloud Composer. So an update chassis would be essentially a adding to pod view, JBoff, reset power, delete node from a compose node, deployment of an operating system, allocate and assemble. These are all various task generated or activity that's happening within SuperCloud Composer. It's broken down based on requester. We can see here that because we're logged in as global admin, we're showing the entire collection of the element list. If you were logged into a profile of another particular user, it would be filtered just on their log activity that they've actually performed. So go ahead, and if you search here on the little mirror glass or microscope, you can see here that where we can filter again based on various different criteria, whether it's a success or an error. And you can look back in time and do search criteria, what's happening about tasks that are generated for a particular appliance or activity that's happening specifically for an appliance. And then you can also go ahead and search on requester. Let's go ahead and click on the All Tasks option. The All Tasks option shows really what's happening of task generated events that are occurring within SuperCloud Composer. You can see here from the list, it's very large in nature. It's about 414 elements. Everything from Kuma card discovery to deleting a node, deleting node from the compose node, and then placing it back into the pool, deploying an operating system such as a CentOS-based operating system, and then also various other tasks that we can see here that have been generated within our R&D lab particular setup. All right, so the last piece here is really the alert management. So being able to send these policy-based alerts to a service that exists within SuperCloud Composer. So we're going to go to the admin tab, we're going to launch it, and we're going to go into what we call the call home feature. And in its settings here, by default, it is basically disabled. So in order to turn on the call home feature for alert management, which is policy-based alerts, we have to go ahead and enable it. The policies themselves, we would set up based on hitting the plus sign to create the policy. The event triggers show up in the list here, such as CPU overheat, DIMM overheat, inlet sensor overheat, GPU card overheat, memory uncorrectable errors, whether a BMC has been powered on or off. Perhaps it's fallen off the network and it's been alerted and stopped monitoring through SCC. These would be events that you could essentially create. So you create the policy. Once you create the policy, then you basically apply it to appliances that definitely want to be triggered on. So for example, if it's a Ultra system that you wanted to report on GPU card failure or fan issues or power supply status, you could go ahead and choose all the appliances based on Ultra, Big Twin, any of the super micro server platforms that exist and are supported with SuperCloud Composer. As I mentioned in an earlier podcast, we have about 90% coverage through all of our super micro servers themselves. The recipients, you can send trigger alerts to users that have been set up within SuperCloud Composer. It's based on email address. We can also send trigger alerts to folks that are not actually been registered within SuperCloud Composer. So if we have folks that are in management that are running the data center and they need to be alerted of certain types of events, they can go ahead and send those trigger alerts to an SMTP relay host, which then they would get immediate email notification of a event occurring. So let's go ahead and look at some other information here. You can go ahead and run a test call to SMTP. And then also we have the SMS alert system for services that we can send alerts to, whether it be SMTP or SMS. We have the capability to enable and disable the policy status management. And then you can go in and simply edit any of the event triggers recipients in the list. So let's go ahead and click on the policy test here and simply edit the, let's say we're going to edit the recipients. And then here we could add those recipients, whether they be SMS based or SMTP, and send those alerts to various different folks within your policy list or users, or even if perhaps they're not users within SuperCloud Composer. So the other thing, again, we've instituted compliance and governance. One important aspect of SuperCloud Composer is really tracking to see where these alerts have been sent to. So you can see here, based on the alert list, we're sending alerts to these individuals, and the email was sent on those particular dates that they were sent. So nobody can come back and say, hey, I never got the SMS alert, I never got the email. We keep a log of that information, again, for compliance and governance, just in case there needs to be an audit trail here of where we're sending our mail and SMS alerts themselves.